All right, so I want to give a quick update from the fire last night. As of right now, we're sitting at 5,500 acres, 10% contained. Right now, the main goals for today are trying to reinforce our north line that we have out there with dozer units. And also we're trying to get on the west side flank, really trying to push a hold and try to get in front of this fire. Last night, fire activity was a little bit more moderate. It did grow, but we were hopefully able to get more in front of it. Looks like we're still reporting had 9 houses lost over the night last night, or actually from yesterday. Right now we got about 120 Florida Forest Service personnel on the ground and at least 300 from local contractors or local personnel, so from local firefighting agencies. And that's not including how many we have from the Sheriff's Office and local law enforcement. So with that, I'll open up questions if anybody has any questions.
What streets are these where these houses are destroyed?
I'm not exactly sure on that. We're not going to release that at this point, not until we let the landowners know.
Where is the western front?
The western front's going to be up along Collier Boulevard. That's our western line right there. We're trying to get in front of that.
Has it jumped?
It has not jumped Collier Boulevard, no sir.
Expecting it to today?
We hope not. No, obviously we're going to try to get in front of it and make sure it doesn't jump Collier Boulevard.
Any leads on what possibly caused this fire? I think you mentioned man-made.
That call's under investigation. We haven't released that yet. Probably as soon as we get farther into the fire, we'll know more about that.
Do you expect anything to change as far as evacuation zones?
I don't right now. We're still working in that same area. Obviously, we'll have updates as the day goes on, as the fire progresses. But as of right now, we're still sticking with what we had yesterday.
How many people are we looking at still in the evac zone?
I think yesterday we had mentioned about 7,000 homes in that area. We're still urging everybody that's in that evacuation zone to please evacuate if you have not yet.
Do you have a sense of how many people of that 7,000 actually evacuated?
No idea. I do know we had some people who wanted to stay, but once again, we are trying to advise everybody to please leave.
It took me a little bit like a tactic about tackling this. We're going to have some air crews in there dropping some more.
Definitely. With access issues, if you've been in that area, a lot of heavy fuels, a lot of cap rock. We can't get as many resources on the ground as we would like. And obviously with all the houses spread out to that area, we're going to have a lot of air resources coming through. Everything from helicopters, type 1 and type 2.
And if there's people who decided not to leave, does that make it difficult for you to do your job to douse these flames from above?
Definitely. Just so people know, if we are out there water dumping, please stay inside your house. If you are outside, we might have to cancel these firefighting efforts, and they cost a lot of money to the taxpayers. So please make sure if you do see fire or air personnel above you, please stay inside your home.
Where are the flames still prominent right now in this area?
It's still pushing that western front towards Collier Boulevard. I think it's near the landfill right now. We're trying to hold that line right now so it doesn't get into there.
Yeah, what's the status of the landfill?
So far, we're protecting it right now. We got guys all up there.
Are you still worried about Golden Gate City, south of Golden Gate City?
Obviously, if it's in the evacuation zone, we are still worried about it. Since it hasn't jumped Collier Boulevard, it's not an immediate threat, but if you are in that area still and you're under evacuation, please leave.
Anything that's just challenging for you guys tackling this at all that you want to talk about?
Just people. Obviously, with evacuation, people coming in and out of roads. A lot of these roads have dead ends, a lot of tight access, a lot of canals. So obviously, with police and fire personnel running around, if you do not have to be in the area, please do not. We don't need a lot of people out walking around and looking at stuff. We need to be able to get our fire personnel in and out so we can protect as many homes as possible. Any other questions? All right, and with this, I guess we'll pass it over to Dan Summers with the Emergency Management Services. Thank you.
Good morning, Dan Summers, Director of Collier County's Bureau of Emergency Services and Emergency Management. Thank you for taking the time to be with us this morning. Again, we had a very long and very busy night last night with active fire in those particular areas east of 951. A couple of messages we want to add to. Again, we're holding the mandatory evacuation at this point. We know that the fire laid down some last night, and again, that's certainly subjective. Our goals today are to continue to assess. We expect possibly red flag conditions, although we saw a few sprinkles of rain this morning and some clouds, but if we see the winds pick up, again, very dry fuels, makes for a high burning content, so it's part of our concern. A large contingent of resources are due in today, so again, to echo the forestry's message this morning, understand we've got a lot of vehicles in the area, we've got narrow roadways, we want you to stay clear. Another message we put out yesterday that we want to stress to you is that we expect an awful lot of aircraft, maybe as many as 10 aircraft working in this area today, making water drops on these fires. If the pilots see civilians in their drop zone, they're going to abort that flight. The pressure, the weight coming down from those water drops can seriously injure you. And if you defer or delay our water drop, you're not helping us put the fire out. So while these aircraft are beautiful and quite a sight to see, stay out of the way, stay out of the drop zone, stay in your home, because they don't want to get anybody hurt during these drop operations. We don't have a lot of, pardon me, we don't have a lot of qualitative information to share with you. We're still assessing. We had a very long night. We anticipated being able to rest some crews last night around midnight. That was not the case. We had a very large force of operations that went throughout the evening. So we're a little behind our operational curve, but we'll get that going today. Again, with the additional assets coming in from out of county, Florida Division of Emergency Management Director Brian Kuhn is here helping us with the state asset coordination as well. Everything is working smoothly. Our requests are being honored. Our resources are coming in. We have no resource shortfall, and just as you have a very large operation with a couple of hundred responders, we're getting a lot of the overhead and resources put together. Listen to local radio, television, social media, monitor our websites, colliergov.net. We're putting all those news releases out, CollierGov in terms of Facebook and Twitter, so those are handy today. Make sure your phone stays on government alerts, your cell phone, so if we issue some other emergency alert activation information, that will go to your personal device as well. One thing that we do want to remind the public, we thank you very much for your generosity about cooking food for the responders. But that becomes a very large logistical challenge for us for some of these home-cooked meals. We thank you again for that generosity. We have an ample supply of bottled water and Gatorade and refreshments for those individuals, and we do have some safety concerns with food handling if we get something that's not restaurant prepared. So thank you for that offer. If you would like to provide that support, a couple of ways that you can help. You can give maybe a gift card or a Publix card to Red Cross. Red Cross can then use that for store-bought items, or a prepaid Visa card would allow Red Cross or Salvation Army to go purchase some additional restaurant quality or pre-wrapped foods for the food service, for the fire service. So thank you very much for the generosity for the donated and home-cooked meals, but please understand that that is a large logistical challenge for us to receive baked goods and those type of things and distribute those. But if you want to make a contribution, do that with something with a gift card or a food service card, something that we can go and prepare those meals logistically for the fire responders. But again, I can't say enough. We appreciate the community's support, but just understand restaurant boxing and logistics works better for us. I'll take a few questions.
Any timeline about what these helicopters will be in the air dropping more?
I think that's still being assessed. Obviously, we've got some cloud cover this morning. A lot of that aircraft was ordered yesterday. It will come in today. It'll be refueled. The fire lines need to be reassessed. Those air bosses, the air coordination systems put into place. I suspect that will be after lunch as we see the fire pick up with those wind conditions, and just the fact that with some of this heavy aircraft, some of those logistics are being moved from either Brookfield or Lakeland into possibly Punta Gorda today. So it does take a little time to get these large aircraft's logistical support put together, but I suspect you'll see those flights after lunch.
Can you be a little more precise about the state resources that are coming in? How many vehicles? How many
It is a large contingent. If the staging area, which is at 951 and Davis Boulevard, and I would encourage you please to yield to that equipment coming in and out of that area. They are not set up to accommodate the press as well, but obviously it's quite a sight to see the equipment there if you need some footage. But the number of forestry personnel, including management personnel, the dozers, I believe some hand crews, communication equipment, supervisors. This morning there were about 65 vehicles out there this morning. There are other engines and strike teams, brush teams coming in from as far as Manatee County, Broward, and possibly Dade County will be coming back in today. We are scheduling that for a 2 to 3 day mission. We might release them after midnight and bring some more crews back in. We're still evaluating what rotational process we'll have with those particular crews coming in, but we've got a very large contingent of resources coming in. I'll let Chief Schultz talk some more about that. But things are going well. We've got great support from the governor, great support from Collier County officials. The EOC is functioning the way we wanted it to. We have a joint information group. You're getting news information from Collier County Sheriff, Collier County PIO, working with the fire PIOs, what we call a joint information center process, so that just as we have a unified management for the fire, we have a unified message distribution going out to you and to the public.
And you mentioned, I'm sorry to reiterate, Manatee, Broward, and what was the last county?
Miami-Dade.
Miami-Dade.
Or just some of the counties bringing additional resources in. The state has been stretched. With the fires in Polk County and Lee County, a lot of fire activity statewide. The governor yesterday and Director Kuhn are also having dialogue today with the state of Georgia for additional resources if necessary from Georgia's Division of Forestry as well as their National Guard. Thank you very much for your help today. Chief?
Morning, folks. Nice to see you again. During the nighttime hours, we had some significant activity from a structural protection perspective. We had crews essentially work all evening. I know I told you yesterday we tried to trim that down. We were not able to do that. That 38th Ave area paralleling Collier Boulevard, we have hundreds of homes back in there. They all stretch back in about a mile. And we had a lot of work to do back there. So again, they worked out most of the night. I tried to explain to everybody the dangers of that. We did initial reports. We lost a barn last night out there. I can't confirm exactly what that was yet. We also had a minor incident with some vehicles, and I've stressed that we need to keep vehicles out of the areas. But that's what happens when you try to congest these areas in dark environments, that you're going to have some of these mishaps. So crews worked again through the night, much too busy for our likings, but this morning we're ramping up, bringing those assets that some of the folks here have been talking about. We're planning on bringing an additional about 106 people, I believe, in from outside the region for structural protection. One of those we confirmed late last night. One of those will definitely be an in and out 12-hour. The other three we're going to set up for potentially a 72-hour mission, but we'll continue to work with our folks at the state to make sure that we have those assets in place. The other piece from our side is the forestry folks are coming in with their the Green Incident Management Team, their overhead team of about 30 professionals. And today we will be working with them to integrate your local fire assets into, say, their logistics and their planning and their operations sections, so we can integrate those responses even more effectively. So that'll be the focus for us here this morning. We'll be supporting them again in their operation out there and in getting our arms around this thing for the residents.
Question from some people is where the flames are right now specifically. Is there a radius or a block?
Well, like everybody previous has said, you know, we will have our first, we're having our first briefing in Intel about 10 o'clock, I believe. We'll begin on that, but that area from the structural protection, that fire front, the head, has been continually moving west. As everybody knows, it was about parallel with the landfill. So we kind of moved past that, all in that area, kind of call that southwest quadrant. There's a division down in there, and that's moving, and that threat from that structure, those embers, which yesterday we told you we're getting spot fires half, 3/4 a mile away from the fire. So that's coming over that canal area and into those homes. So it is still pressing westward on us, and as we've said, those homes along that 38th Ave are of prime importance. And we've got that a large barrier at Collier Boulevard. We do not want that to jump over Collier Boulevard. That's a very significant marking point for us, much like Golden Gate is Boulevard along the north side. So still pushing in that general westerly direction. Once those aircraft get up there, they'll get that GPS a little bit better for us. We'll be able to tell the location and the movement of the fire. Anything else? Okay, I think Chief Bloom from the Sheriff's Office. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Jim Bloom, Chief of Operations with the Collier County Sheriff's Office. As far as the law enforcement perspective of this incident, you've heard that the mandatory evacuation zone has not changed since yesterday. So we're continuing to hold that perimeter at the major choke points, egress, degress from that area. Our staffing levels have stayed consistent with, since yesterday, and I would like to give a big thanks out to FHP, Captain Gideon's. They have given us tremendous amount of personnel, as you've seen out there, along with our local police departments, Naples and Marco. They've assisted us. We continue to hold that area, along with, we have several strike teams inside that perimeter that will continue to answer. As you can imagine, we still receive 911 calls, emergency calls, and so forth, so we're still responding to those. I would like to reiterate, though, if you do not need to be there, you do not live within that mandatory evacuation zone, please stay out of that. We have a lot of heavy equipment, fire apparatus moving very quickly street to street, saving these homes as they can. And you can imagine if we have vehicles on those roadways, it slows them down and slows us down getting there. So please cooperate with us for your safety and for the individual respect to those homeowners within there so that we can do our job. We've placed several message boards around the perimeter. I'm sure you've seen them driving around, advising people of the mandatory evacuation zone area and to please stay out of there unless it is absolutely necessary. And anything else, Captain, you'd like to add on the law enforcement perspective?
No, just that, you know, like, we're here to assist the Sheriff's Office with any needs they have. We're also here for safe passage on the interstates. There's a smoke potential to lay down on the interstate. Last night we were prepared, shut down the interstate from Pine Ridge Road possibly to State Road 29. We had a couple of small fires pop up against the fence, and the smoke it's working with us right now. You see a lot of smoke, but we have enough visibility to allow traffic to move. But it's a hour by hour thing, so we are prepared to shut down the interstate if we need to, and whatever assistance Sheriff's Office needs.
What's your name and title?
Captain Mike Gideons,
You spell that?
Gideons.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cap. Any further questions? All right, thank you.
Real quick, my name is Joe Zurchowski. I'll be the Public Information Officer for the Florida Interagency Incident Management Team, the Green Team as it's referred to. The Green Team will take over joint command with Greater Naples Fire Rescue at about noon today. We appreciate all the media support. We appreciate the residents' cooperation, all the local support, law enforcement, local fire, absolutely tremendous. We understand this is a major inconvenience for the local residents. We want them to know we're doing everything in our power to get this thing under control as quickly as possible.